Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, the final book in the original Mistborn trilogy. After really enjoying the second book, The Well of Ascension, I went into this one expecting a big and satisfying conclusion. It definitely delivers on scale and answers. I have to say it left me a bit cold. It's well put together, but it didn't really grab me emotionally. So I want to talk about what worked, what didn't work for me, and how I feel this trilogy wrapped up overall. Right from the first chapters, you can straight away tell this is a darker story. The world is basically falling apart, the ash keeps falling, the mists are more dangerous, and everything just feels heavier. Sanderson does a good job with an atmosphere, but it's also a slower book. Everything feels more methodical and deliberate, which fits the tone, but it also made it harder for me to stay engaged. It's very focused on explaining things and bringing all the puzzle pieces together. But I missed that sense of energy and unpredictability that made The Well of Ascension so enjoyable. This one feels like Sanderson's most planned out novel. Everything's clean and tidy, but sometimes it's a bit too tidy. Anyway, the characters are where I had the most issues. Let's start with the main character, Finn. I know she's one of the most popular characters in the series, but I've never really connected with her. And here she felt even more distant. She doesn't really have much personality anymore. It's like she's more of a role in the story than a real person. She's there to do what the plot needs, but I didn't feel like I understood her thoughts or emotions. And Elend, on the other hand, has clearly grown a lot since the first book. He's more serious, more decisive, and that development makes sense. But even with him, I never felt much depth. He's fine, he's just not very interesting in this one. And the romance between Finn and Elend. It never did work for me through the whole series. It's supposed to be the emotional core of the trilogy, but it just doesn't feel natural. There's very little chemistry, and they mostly talk about big ideas or leadership instead of anything that makes them feel like real people together. And by the end, I couldn't buy into the relationship at all. It felt more like an obligation than something genuine. The one character I did still enjoy was Sazed. His story about faith and meaning is the most grounded and emotional part of the book. It's quiet but powerful, and he feels human in a story that otherwise gets very mechanical. And as for Spook, honestly his chapters didn't do much for me. He gets a lot more focus in the story. They take up a lot of space, but I didn't feel like they added anything meaningful. His arc could have been left out and not much would change. Structurally, this book feels classic Sanderson. Everything connects, everything has a reason, and all the mysteries eventually make sense. And while that's impressive, it's also a bit controlled. You can really feel how carefully planned it all is, which sometimes makes it predictable. I often caught myself thinking about how clever the story was instead of actually feeling invested in it. It's a bit of a strange experience. I admired the writing, but I wasn't absorbed in it. And that's where it differs from The Well of Ascension. That book had moments that felt spontaneous, with characters making surprising choices. And here it feels like everything is on rails, heading toward a pre-planned conclusion. And thematically, I do think this is one of Sanderson's stronger books. It's about faith, belief, and how people interpret meaning in different ways, especially through Sazed's arc. His sections feel honest and human, and I really liked it. The book also looks at the idea of prophecy, how people twist ideas to fit what they want to believe. That's interesting, but I think the execution is a bit too on the nose. It tells you exactly what it's trying to say instead of letting you feel it through the characters. And so the themes are there and well thought out, but I didn't connect with them emotionally. They work in theory, not so much in practice. Now, the ending. Obviously no spoilers here, but I think most readers would agree it's huge. There are a ton of reveals, explanations and payoffs, and it's all incredibly clean. Every mystery from the trilogy gets an answer. It's the kind of ending where you can see how much planning went into it, and I respect that. But for me, it was more intellectually satisfying than emotionally satisfying. I didn't feel much of anything when it ended, because I hadn't connected to the characters along the way. It's a clever ending, just not a moving one. So overall, The Hero of Ages is a well structured but emotionally distant finale. Everything is wrapped up nicely, but I just didn't care much about the people involved. Finn still doesn't work for me. She feels more like a symbol than a character. Elend is fine, but bland, and their romance never clicks. And Spook's entire subplot feels unnecessary. Sazed chapters were the one part that really worked, but it wasn't enough to carry the whole thing for me. And as a trilogy overall, I still think Mistborn is clever and unique, especially in its world building, but The Well of Ascension remains my favorite by far. It had the best balance between character, emotion and tension. The Hero of Ages finishes the story, but it didn't make me feel much while doing it. Anyway, that's how I felt. Let me know what you thought of The Hero of Ages down below. Did the ending work for you? Did you connect more with Finn and Elend? I'd love to hear your take. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.